Alright, the one I've been afraid of doing ever since I thought of it. Anti-Semitism. I've wanted to do a video on anti-Semitism. I want to do a series on anti-Semitism. I want to write a book about anti-Semitism. I want to make a movie about it. I want to think of some way to talk about it without it being insulting, and to get somewhere in the arena of civility and respect. True civility and true respect. With the concession being conceded that you can address established opinions and point out plausibilities, even hypotheticals, without you being, you know, just inherently disrespectful for bringing it up. With most people, when I talk in private, I last longer on this subject than most people. When it comes to Jewish culture, a lot of people are very black or white on it. And it usually comes down to either being Jewish or not, or having, you know, someone close to you who's Jewish, or just you've had a wide range of experience with people, and you know, you're either pretty well educated on the subject or you're really ignorant. And like most people that have any kind of racist tendencies that are negative, it's because of some unfortunate thing that happened. They had a run-in with just this particular individual or this group of people that treated them bad. And that's what sparked off the thought process going in that direction. And once they bond like a chemical with the historical prevalence that's established all throughout history of anti-Semitism with its most intense moments, the unfortunate reality is, to these people that are negative, that it makes sense to be that way. The reason I think it's impossible for me to be anti-Semitic, not because of my slight Jewish ancestry, but because I've had a moment of awareness recently where I realized how many Jewish people I'm amazed by and admire, and just realize how many of my favorite people are Jewish. My favorite actor is Jewish. My favorite actress is Jewish. My favorite director is Jewish. My favorite musician is Jewish. I don't want to name people, you know, I don't want to do that. But I'm just saying it, you know, like, it goes, all my favorite comic book characters were created by Jewish artists. It occurred to me that just how much of what I like and my personality, where I am in the world, about what I think about everything, is rooted in my early life, and when I started liking things, and when I deciding what I enjoyed and what I didn't. And what I enjoy and what I'm just crazy about are things that were created by Jewish people, the Jewish geniuses. You know, I mean, I'm an American, right? So, you know, what American doesn't like, unless you're a real jerk that just likes to throw a rock at a window. Come on. A real American likes to sing God Bless America in the summertime and White Christmas when it's cold. Guess what? They were both written by the same Jewish man. Just, you could go to town, and you could go to town, and you could go to town with example after example of some amazing thing that is not debatable about being amazing that was created by a Jewish artist, scientist, politician. It's a reality of positivity that is not brought into the discussion of anti-Semitism. You know, when you're talking about the haters and the reasons for people having just a moderate dissatisfaction or disagreement with something someone of Israeli descent has done, and it blossoms into a whole contention that that's how they are, and this all happened because of them, and however much you can prove that, okay, yeah. Or you can point out how many important things that are essential to economic stability and government stability, and I don't want to name names, right? Because this is just about essence. It's true. You say, this important business that governs this important reality is owned by a Jewish man. This bank is owned by a Jewish man. These banks are owned by Jewish men, and only Jewish men. This entertainment company is owned by a Jewish man. This sports team is owned by a Jewish man. These leading cell phone companies are owned by Jewish men. And it's a list that just is suddenly very long, indisputable. And you get into that realm, and the anti-Semitic blast comes at you. Because just pointing that out brings out the possibility that your motive for bringing it up is to be negative against these people, or you're making an insinuation that it's wrong that they own all these things, without pointing out the positive of saying, well, just like anything else, and I'm not trying to sound absurd, just pointing out that this might be the reason, they're just really good at what they do. I just think that I'm at a point in my life where I'm facing the reality that I see, first and foremost, that as far as my life is concerned, the Jewish people are the most important people in the world. In my world. And I have been drawn into all kinds of debates about what's right and wrong, and a lot of times I complain about big stuff with the best of them. Always trying to hold on to respect and hold on to, being concessional to partiality. But, this is this overwhelming reality that comes into the discussion, whether you're being positive or negative, that is just, to not be allowed to acknowledge that's the part that I have such a problem with. The Anti-Defamation League is there to just beat the spiritual snot out of anybody who can even start stirring up any kind of contention that, you know what I mean. It could go in all kinds of directions, and usually what happens is that lines of okay and not okay materialize as far as actions and future plans are concerned. And that's where it gets hard to talk about. Because if you're contending that people are doing something for an evil reason, or for a racist reason, no matter if everything that's brought into question is verifiable, it just doesn't sound good. There's all kinds of examples you could get about this race or that race. Just saying that they're good at this is an insult. Because you're basically saying, well, they're only good at it because that's their heritage. And you're cutting out the possibility that they're good at it because they worked hard. And I'm at a point where, wow, you're not supposed to talk about anti-Semitism or question it, but it's all I want to talk about. It's all I want to talk about. It's like, I think it's the most important subject in the world. And it's the one subject that just doesn't it doesn't bounce right. It just, my belief is that if you interject as much positivity into the discussion as you can, then the people that might be just punishing you for bringing it up can lose their footing. All of a sudden their footing isn't rock, but, you know, hockey rink ice. And even if they're standing still, they take one step and slip a little bit. You know, you can do that with positivity with people. Hopefully if we get chipped, like everybody's afraid we're going to be chipped, you know, what also comes with the chip is an automatic lie detection device where, you know, if there's an intense debate going on, a little red light goes off if someone is lying. So that when I say that my favorite author is Jewish, my favorite musician is Jewish, favorite film director, the green light goes on. And it's just an indisputable thing. Hopefully this all goes away someday. And I realize that a lot of people have serious reasons to be upset with Jewish people. But I have no way of confirming what their reasons are. I know when somebody doesn't have a whole lot of tact, and it's unfortunate that a person who might not be a hater sounds like a hater just because they're not so good at getting the point across. I guess that's my point. I don't believe even half of the people that I've seen branded as anti-Semitic were actually anti-Semitic. They're just really bad at making their points, and they just got hit with the classic, you know, yeah, and that's the problem. Well, it makes sense that the Jewish people have suffered, and there's no race on earth that's had more turmoil over the millennium, but so they have a reason to be defensive more than, especially about just any kind of conversation, and it's so unfortunate when anybody is persecuted unjustly. And that's what everybody who's not Jewish, who is positive, hopes that Jewish people will recognize that, you know, in recognition of your suffering and your persecution, you know, take that to heart in consideration of the possible persecution of others. You know, empathy. So that a civilized resolution can be achieved.